This looks like a great time to set up a plan to, marry somebody and then eventually divorce them down the line. Let's have some children, start a family, and then break it up. It had me questioning whether I was even good enough to be my children's mother. What kind of example am I setting for them if I make this change? And now I feel like I just, for lack of better words, fucked everything up. What we focus on will grow. And if we're focusing on those good moments, you'll see 10 minutes turn into an hour. You'll see an hour turn into a day. You'll see a day turn into a week. You'll see a week turn into a month. And before you know it, the whole year done went by and you done bossed up. What's the dealio? It's your girl Dara, and you are listening to My Voice with Dara and Friends. And I personally, just first of all, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you are listening on any platform right now, whether it's YouTube, hello YouTube, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Pandora, whatever you chose to listen to this podcast on, I definitely want to say thank you. I also want to let you know you are kind of like in for a little bit of a treat, especially if you've ever gone through something where you've had to start over, or you feel like you're going through something currently where you have to start over and you want to just get some encouragement, you want to get some insight, you want somebody to kind of like, hold your hand and let you know you are not alone in this process. I'm going to do my best not to put this in front of my face because my sister said the last time you guys couldn't see my face. So I hope this is better. I guess I'll find out when I'm editing it. Needless to say, do me a favor, whatever platform you have decided to listen to this podcast on or watch us on, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, because I definitely think that with the new episodes that's coming up, you guys are not going to want to miss anything. So hitting that subscribe button, whether it's on Apple, YouTube, whatever it is you're listening or watching the show on, please hit subscribe. Whatever you prefer to watch your podcast on or listen to your podcast on. With that being said, today we're going to be talking a little bit about starting over. I want to talk about this one because I feel like I'm starting over. Now, technically speaking, I'm not starting completely over. I seen a post the other day that kind of like hit home for me. And I think it's like, it says something about, matter of fact, I'm just going to show y'all what it was right quick. Not show y'all, but maybe I will put it up. But I think it was something that was important. And it almost made me cry when I seen it. But that's because I'm a little punk. It says, I hope you know 2016 you is so proud of 2026 you. 2016 me is proud of 2026 me. And the reason why I felt like this hit home for me so much, if you don't already know, my actual divorce was finalized in 2016. And 2016 was the true start over. Like when I tell you I started completely over in 2016, and by that I truly mean, when I think of starting over, whatever you envisioned for your future, whatever you envisioned to be the outcome of what you consider to be success, happiness, or, your happy ending, to have that kind of like swiped away and somebody says, wait, no, this isn't, you're not doing that. You're going to be doing this now. I kind of attribute starting over to that. So I always think about when that time frame happened for me, how I don't think anybody gets married to say, I want to get a divorce. This looks like a great time to set up a plan to, marry somebody and then eventually divorce them down the line. Let's have some children, start a family, and then break it up. Like nobody ever really gets married to do that, right? So, and even in doing that, I think that also was a start over, because you go from being single to being married. So now you're starting this whole new life, a new life. Everything kind of has a cycle, right? And so with the start over cycle, I personally believe at that time frame for me, it was, let me see, if I really had to think about what that time frame for me was, I definitely would have to put that along the lines of, maybe scary is the word that comes to mind. Scary, even disappointment. And let's just throw one more in there for fun. I would have to say, I would also have to say it was exciting. Wait, what? For me, it definitely was scary. It was exciting. And what was the other word I used? Well, there was disappointment along with that. And then there was also excitement in the midst of that. And I'll go through each of those, because I definitely want us to start really, whenever we have these shifts happen in our lives, I think it's very important that we take inventory of what we're feeling, what happened, what did I learn from it, and what is to come. So what was I feeling? What was happening? What did I learn from it? And what's to come? So at the time all of that happened, and I'll drag that into today. At the time that happened, it was more so what was I feeling at the time? I'm gonna be honest with you. I was feeling all kinds of emotions. I was feeling hurt. I was feeling pain. I was feeling anger. I was feeling frustration. I was feeling madness. And by madness, I mean, your girl could have did some illegal things that probably would have got me put behind bars. But yeah, I mean, it was all these different emotions. But then at the same time, I think when I overcame the initial shock of it all, there was excitement, because for some reason, starting new things and starting over and having a fresh start is kind of exciting. Like there's this really exciting time frame that you tend to enter into. It's like a now what kind of feeling, a now what, what's next, like I can really take everything I just kind of like learned from all of this trauma that just went on, and all of this bad stuff that went on, and all of this stuff that went on that just had me thinking life was over. I learned something in the midst of all of that. And now I get to use that. I get to use the strength. I get to use the excitement. I get to use all of this to kind of curate and create and like make something new happen. Oh my God, like how exciting is that? And I think that's where kind of like all of that came from for me during that time frame. Now, fast forward, in the midst of that, I started earning more money. I started gaining more confidence. I also started to build stronger foundation for me and my children. So where we were living at, and, how we were living, and what I was able to do just as a person myself, and not being attached to somebody. The scariness tends to fall off. You tend to get nice little structure going on, and you start to feel like, okay, I got a handle on my life. And so you start to get comfortable, and you start to become a little bit more, I don't want to say complacent, because you still, well, for me, I still kind of like had dreams and aspirations and things that I was wanting to do, hence starting this podcast. There were things that I kind of wanted to do, professionally as well, starting my own business in some type of real estate sector, as well as wanting to see my podcast grow. So there was a lot that I still wanted to do, but there was also this kind of like comfortability that I had built for myself, where it was like, I don't really need to do too much now. And so now that brings me forward to today. I don't know what it was that made me think now is a great time to make a shift. And whenever we decide to make a shift, it can go one or two ways, right? It can go completely left and you fall flat on your face, or it can go completely right. Matter of fact, it can probably go three ways. Let's throw a little third one in there. Or it can go completely right, and everything is right. Everything turned out right. All the ducks is in a row. All your I's is dotted. All your T's are crossed. Everything worked out perfectly. You met the right people. You was in the right places. Everything just works out. And you are like, yes, I knew this was supposed to happen. I knew God had my back. I knew, like, you just knew everything was lined up the way you needed to be to the T. But that left side has you questioning yourself. That left side will have you questioning, am I equipped to do this? This left side will have you questioning your ability to make decisions correctly. You're questioning whether or not you actually did the research you were supposed to do, whether or not you are smart enough, whether or not like it will have you questioning, or me, it had me questioning whether I was even good enough to be my children's mother. What kind of example am I setting for them if I make this change? And now I feel like I just, for lack of better words, fucked everything up. Like I fucked it all up. Like that's how I was really feeling. I don't know. It's almost like you saw this vision. You felt like you heard from God, and you felt like everything was just lining up the way you wanted it to line up. And then all of a sudden, yeah, it didn't work out. Not the way you wanted it to, right? Not the way you had hoped, and not the way you clearly had envisioned. And so you feel like a failure ultimately within this shift and this change. And so there's also this middle part. There's this middle part that can happen where it doesn't look like it's working out the way you envisioned. You didn't happen to land in the right place. The money didn't line up the way you thought the money was going to line up. The people you thought you were going to meet, you weren't meeting. The way you was envisioning getting sales, and the way you were envisioning getting ahead and making a stronger foundation, because ultimately that's why we kind of make these shifts. We want to strengthen the foundation that we're already on. However, sometimes it don't work out that way. And that's the problem that we tend to run into sometimes when we make these swift decisions. Well, when I make swift decisions, I keep saying we, because I don't know why. I really want to feel like there's a tribe of me out there that will sometimes make decisions based off of what you're feeling. And then you got to do damage control, kind of like, like maybe you almost got to, okay, I got to fix it now. The good thing is people who do that, we're very creative, we're very innovative, and we are great fixers. So I'm okay, fixing things with tears in my eyes. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm very okay fixing things with tears in my eyes. I'm very okay fixing things as I'm feeling depressed, as I'm feeling like, damn, I effed this up. I'm very okay fixing it and crying at the same time. What I do want to say is, in this middle part right here, this middle part is good because your left side and your right side meets in the middle. And this is where things start to become a little clear. So yeah, where you started out, and it's this new thing you're starting, you're over here and it's like, wait, I'm sinking, I'm drowning, I don't know what I'm doing. Things is definitely messing up. It's not looking the way I wanted it to look. It's not feeling the way I wanted it to feel. I'm definitely not making the money I was hoping I would make. But then there's this right part about it that says, wait, you're actually in the right place at the right time for this right thing to happen. And I think as long as we hold on long enough, as long as we believe strong enough, and as long as we can have the vision and the faith that we brought into the decision just a little longer, not like just long enough to allow that right side to catch up to that left. It just seems like it's a little slow sometimes. And I think sometimes this is where the new beginning happens. This is where the starting over point happens. I don't think the start over was you making the decision. I think the start over is when the decision starts to now align with new things happening. You're in a new territory. You're in uncharted territory that makes you feel very unstable. But you're still in the right direction. You're still in the right place. It makes you feel like you don't know anything. It's almost a little bit of imposter syndrome going on there, where you feel like, hey, I've been doing, just to give you a little bit of info, I've been doing new construction I've been selling new construction since 2016, actually since my divorce. And which was the start over that I needed at that time frame. And it served the purpose with that company. And I felt like, okay, yeah, this is perfect. I can make this happen. I can make this work. I can really rock this. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm definitely the kind of person that I get an itch sometimes that I want to do something a little better. I want to do something a little more. I need to throw a little sauce in the mix, because My mom called me a lifetime student. A professional student, because I'm always looking for something to, like, I need to latch onto something to learn some more. I need to learn some more. I need to grow some more. I need to find something out. I need to find the right people that know the right things, and it's going to teach it to me. And so I knew at this time frame, I wanted to do something that was a little different from selling the homes that I was normally selling. It just no longer, anytime I start to feel like I'm not maybe getting joy. I don't want to say joy, because then that makes it seem like just because you're not happy, you should leave. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you're like me and you need to feel like you're growing somewhere, if you're not growing or you don't feel like you're moving in any kind of upward direction, you will try to find something to latch onto that's a little different from where you're at. And I think that's what I was seeking. It seemed like all the things were supposed to be like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, I know this is like, I'm supposed to be moving in this direction. And it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. It worked out it didn't work out at all. It just didn't work out at all. It didn't feel right. And when I say it didn't feel right, I mean in a matter of days, I knew I had made the worst decision at that moment in my life when it comes to making sure my children have a home over their head, making sure I can cover bills, making sure I can pay for these car notes, making sure I can do pretty much everything falls on my shoulder. And I said pretty much, that's actually being very polite. It all falls on my shoulder. And with it all falling on my shoulder, you're in a very scared place when those types of things happen, because you feel like you didn't do all you needed to do to protect the kingdom you built. And I know I'm a very good mother, but I had moments of feeling like, oh my God, these kids deserve somebody better than me. And I think that's when I knew I had to do some cleaning up in my brain, some cleaning up in my thought process and in my mindset. Even my spirit, I needed to just kind of like cleanse it. You're doing a lot of stinking thinking, and that is not the case here. You are an awesome mother. You made decisions that you thought would better you, that you thought would grow you, and that you thought would grow your professional career. And sometimes it don't always work out. And I want to be the first to tell you that if you're in that same position, please know that, it's not always going to work out the way you envisioned. You got to know how to pivot. So within that time frame, I actually met somebody at that same place that I all of a sudden started thinking, I don't belong here. I met somebody who actually opened the door for me to go to a different place. And that's where the right side started lining up with the decision, because it was like, for a little while, it was looking like, hey, your girl might need to move back in with mommy, which I'm not afraid to do that either. Hello, somebody. When I say your girl's not afraid to start over, I'm not afraid to start over. I will start over every single time with tears in my eyes. I will, promise you I will. And I would not be scared to get dirty and get down and get like into it all, to figure it all out, to put it all back together. I watched my mom do it multiple times. And I think my mom is a perfect example for me to be able to see how somebody can have something taken away, can rebuild and rebuild again with tears in their eyes. And so, that's my flowers to my mom. Here we are, the right side now meeting the left side. And now I'm feeling like, okay, I think I got something here. But even in having something, you're still starting new. You're still starting over, and you're still starting fresh with these new ideas, new people, new company, new way of doing things. And in a new way of doing things, I'm actually having to go through a whole training process. Mind you, I'm still selling new homes at this time, currently with this company. But they have a training process that I have to go through that makes me feel like, I'm sorry, did we not just, And so, I'm starting over, and starting over is still scary. Even right now, I feel much more stable. I feel like I'm now where I'm supposed to be. I definitely feel like this start over process is still scary. It's still scary, and it still makes me feel a little bit of an imposter sometimes. But I'm on the right track. And I hope that whoever feels like they've made a muck of their life with a certain decision, I hope that you have the right people around you that can actually speak into you and let you know that, hey, listen, whoa. Making decisions to make changes and making decisions to grow and making decisions to do something different is never a bad thing. That is never a bad thing to do. And I'm so glad I had friends and family and even my own daughters cheering me on, saying, like, not even just cheering me on, but encouraging me and let me know that, no, like, this isn't, no, we're not going to let you do this. We're not going to let you do this because you are that girl. You are exactly who you think you are. You are exactly who you think you are. You're that girl. And you're that girl that went from a divorce making $10 an hour at Olive Garden because you had to find something right away to make sure you could still feed your kids and still figure out life. And you're that person who went from $10 an hour at Olive Garden to find you a company that you can start building on at a new construction company. And then you started growing from there, and you grew to this managerial level at a community to now you're about to do it on a bigger scale. And like, don't cut yourself short is what I'm saying. Like, do the inventory needed for you to realize you're that person, you're that girl, you're that guy, whoever's watching this or listening to this, you are her. You are him. And you need to remember exactly what you went through, what you came through, what you overcame, what you fought your way out of. Like, do some life inventory. Like, look at some pictures, remind yourself, talk to some people. I'm quite sure some people got something to tell you about yourself that you just need to remember. Okay. All right. Let's answer some questions. We're going to just answer a few questions that, I asked people to kind of like send me to see if this kind of resonates with you guys. So let's answer some questions. I like this one. Okay, so what did starting over cost me, and was it worth it? Starting over cost me at the moment, I'm being so for real, starting over cost me my sanity. It cost me my sanity. It cost me just a tad bit of my peace. My reality kind of like was shifted. And was it worth it? Hell yes. Every time starting over has an outcome where I feel like I'm getting better, it's always worth it. And I'm not even talking about money at that point. I'm more so talking about who I am as a person. I'm never going to allow what I'm going through in that moment, in that start of a moment, to let me overlook or gloss over the fact that I'm actually becoming a better person because of this. I'm actually seeing, this brighter, more clearer path of who I am, where I need to go, and what I need to do to be there. Gaining more understanding about myself, what I can endure, and also understanding that I'm full of ideas. I'm so full of ideas, and it is the most amazing thing ever. I love being full of ideas. I will idea you to death. So what if we do this? So what about this? So yes. Yeah. Me, myself, and I, we all have a meeting. Me, myself, and I. And if we are not all on the same page, we're going to keep talking until we figure it out. But yeah, it was definitely worth it. I think within this new start over, having to constantly remind myself of the things that I am grateful for, having to constantly remind myself of, the strength that I do have, and how my children see me, how my mom sees me, how my sister sees me. Like, I'm constantly reminding myself that I am not the sum of my bad thoughts. I'm not the sum of my bad thoughts, but I'm also not the entirety of my overthinking. So I'm not the sum of my bad thoughts, and I'm not the entirety of my overthinking. But there is truth in some of those things, and I can take that and I can grow from it. I can learn from it. But I'm very grateful for where I'm at currently in my life. I'm grateful that I have the people in my life. So I do know that this is going to turn out to be one of the best decisions I probably made, because usually when I go through it the most, and I'm not saying go through horrible times just to have good times, but I am saying for me, a lot of times I can look at it and go, the times where I was challenged the hardest is where I've had the greatest outcome, where I've had the biggest blessings at the end, where I've had the greater peace waiting for me at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. We're still finding out how much it was worth. So when we get there, I will let you know, but definitely, yeah, it was worth it. What belief about yourself had to die before your new, what belief had to die? What belief about myself had to die for my new life to begin? Actually, this is a good point that where I want to stop and maybe see if y'all can go ahead in the comments and tell me some of the things that you felt like in your new beginnings had to actually die in order for you to do the thing you're doing now. Like, what is the one thing that you said, I can't do this no more. This has to go in order for this new level to start, in order for this new thing to start, in order for this, whether it's a new relationship, whether it was a new job, whether it was you leaving a job to start a business. Maybe you became a mom, and like, what had to die in order for you to reach this new level, do this new thing? I had to give up believing that I should go backwards, even after I found the courage to go forward. So yeah, when I think about how I set a plan before leaving and making that leap of, change, and then after a few weeks going by and realizing this is not what I had envisioned, this is not what I planned, I'm definitely scared. I don't think I'm cut out for this new change. And not that I wasn't cut out for it, but I wasn't cut out for what I walked into. Hence, sidebar, make sure whenever you do make changes like that y'all do your research, because I think that was my biggest aha moment. Bitch, start researching a lot more before you make these grandiose decisions. But anyhow, so I didn't do what I should have done in those moments, but also I tried to backtrack and I tried to go back. And granted, this company loves me. This company loves me down. Who wouldn't though? This company loves me, but we were all trying to figure out a way to kind of like weave me back into something that I wasn't no longer fitting in. I was no longer fitting in the place that I had left. I was no longer fitting where I thought I belonged. And that was even more scary. And that's when I realized, okay, I got to do this now. Now I have to come up with my own plan. Now I have to figure out things on my own. I'm not supposed to go back here. That's one thing I truly believed. And still to this day, I truly believe it. I'm not supposed to go back there. I'm supposed to figure it out from here where I'm at. I had to get uncomfortable. I had to get in a place that made me feel like you have no choice but to now figure it out on your own. You have no choice but to make something happen from which you've been dealt. And within that, I just started like, okay, well, I'm here now. You don't be a baby about it. You're a grown ass woman. Figure this out. You've been here before. You've built a life for yourself in this beautiful home with your children, and you know damn well you're not going to let nobody pull this rug from out under you. So either you're going to wipe your tears or keep your tears. Hey, keep crying, babes. But don't give up. Don't stop thinking. Don't stop creating. Don't stop coming up with ideas and plans to make it better. Believing I should go backwards, even after I found the courage I should go forward, was not something that aligned with me being great and better for my future and for my present of what I was envisioning for what I wanted to do. Like, it's like, babes, either you're going to do it and not and be scared, or you're going to run backwards and then you're going to be feeling stuck and feeling like you're a failure. So, yeah, that's it. Let's get one more and then, I like this one. How do you rebuild confidence when your past makes you question yourself? Which is what I've been talking about this whole time. How do you rebuild confidence when your past makes you question yourself? Whew. Dang, I love that one. I really, really love that question. How do you rebuild? I think I kind of touched on it a little bit. And maybe I touched on it in the essence of assuming everybody has a tribe. So let's just assume you don't have a tribe. Let's talk about it from that angle. Because I feel like when you have a tribe and you're in that space, it's really, really, really important to make sure you're talking to the right people, making sure you're being reminded of who you are. I can't stress enough how important it was for me to talk to the right people. I remember, all right, I'm not going to cry when I say this, but I do remember it was a point in time where I felt very, I don't want to be here-ish anymore. That's the easiest way I can put it, right? Very, this world would be better off without me. And I called my sister. And I called my sister because my sister is the one who I knew pretty much everything I had been through. She knew everything I had been through. So I knew she was the perfect person to call to remind me of myself, because I think it's really crazy sometimes for us to believe that we can always, have confidence in ourselves to make certain moves, or to carry out this plan, or to be the person who builds up from the ground to the top. Like, sometimes you need somebody, and hey, if you don't, cool, that's you. I'm talking to the people who do. I'm talking to the people who actually feel like sometimes I need somebody to hold my hand. Sometimes I need somebody to whisper some really great things I did in my ear. Sometimes I really need somebody to give me that hug that tells me everything is going to be okay, babes. Not only do you got this, but I got this with you. And I think that is what I needed in my sister in that moment. And that's what she gave me. But there's also moments where I've called my mom. Most people wouldn't agree with this, but I've also talked to my oldest daughter, and my youngest daughter. She sometimes just would say things that make me feel good, and make me go, oh, wow, I didn't know you thought that way about me. Not that I went to her for advice or anything. She's an 8th grader. But at the same time, I try to live my life in front of her so that she can ultimately see that it's okay to go through these things, because when she's going to be an adult one day, and I want her to remember, wait, I see my mom go through this. But when it comes to those people who don't have a tribe, here's what I do want to say. I would say link up with a therapist, but sometimes if you're in this position, therapy is just not in the cards for you. It really isn't. Let's be for real. Sometimes therapy is not in the cards. So having a therapist costs money. And for some people, it's just not in the cards. So what I will say is try your best to connect. I can't stress this enough. Please try to find your tribe. Try to find your tribe. But also, if that's not in the cards for you as well, look at old pictures. Look at old pictures to remind yourself of things you did go through. Sometimes that nostalgia and having those memories and sitting there and going through that whole memory lane thing helps you remember, like, oh, wait, I forgot that happened. Or, dang, I'm sitting up here crying about this, and I actually went through something much worse. And you start to remember, like, who you are. Like, you start to remember how much you did overcome in the past. And I think doing inventory of our life is just so important. I think Mel Robbins says it wonderfully when she talks about her she has a New Year's podcast where she talks about how her and her daughter and her husband and all of them, I guess they do like this family thing where they kind of like go through their whole past year to remember the things that the things that they did. And it kind of helps you with understanding, like, wait, sometimes we are so hard on ourselves that we don't even realize, wait a minute, I actually did do better than I did the last year. Or I actually am not the person that would crash out all the time, even though I did just crash out recently. Sometimes you might think you haven't grown at all, and you got to do the inventory to remember, wait, I used to crash out at least 10 times a day. Now it's once every 10 months. So it helps you realize that there is some growth there. You should have a little confidence in yourself, and you should believe in yourself a little bit more. So I would say definitely do the memory lane check. I would also say maybe do journaling. Definitely. I know it's cliche. I know people say, oh, that's corny. It's not corny if it's working. It's not corny if it's working. And if it is corny to somebody else, who gives a damn? But I would say do some inventory on your life. Go down memory lane. Remind yourself who you are. One of the things I did to my daughter when she was young, and I hope she don't get mad that I say this, she used to always talk about her looks, and she did not have, now she can't stay out the phone and the camera and the mirror and everything. But one of the things she said helped her is I actually used to make her take, I think we took a lipstick, or maybe it was a Sharpie. I honestly don't know. And I had her write on the mirror, the actual mirror that she gets ready in every morning. Every time she would come to me and tell me how she was feeling, we would have to write all the great things I would make her write them, all the great things that she could remember about herself in that moment. And we would leave that on the mirror until you no longer feel that way. Until you no longer feel the way you walked in that room and told me you feel, we're going to keep looking in this mirror every morning to remind ourselves of the great things, of the things we feel about ourselves when we are feeling good. Because when we're feeling bad, I feel like, or not even bad, I don't want to say, my therapist talked about me with this whole bad and good thing. I don't know why, I just love saying it. But anywho, but when we are in these challenging moments, in these challenging spots in life, it's so easy for our thoughts about ourselves and what we are capable of and who we are and how we feel and what we overcome. It's so easy for that to get clouded, and it's so easy for that to be in the dark sometimes. And I think at those times, those are the times where it is literally the hardest to see the best you have on yourself. So when you are feeling good, I don't care if it's just for 10 minutes out the day. When you are feeling good, write that down. Don't just write down what's bad. Don't just write down when you feel bad. Don't just write down when you're feeling challenged. Don't just write those bad thoughts, because then you're just feeding that. But feed when you feel good. Again, even if it's only for 10 minutes, feed when you're feeling good. Feed when you're feeling good, and get that darn pen and paper down and say, I don't care if you just start with, my eyebrows is on point today. And they are. Or, dang, I looked good in them shorts. Or, dang, I handled that problem really well. Like, whenever you're feeling the best, like you're just that slight goodness is feeling like it's coming through, take that and build on it. Because what we build on will grow. You done bossed up because you was like, you know what, from 10 minutes to a year, I done told myself everything that needed to be heard in order for me to be the best person I can be right now. And in order for me to make this change happen. That's all I'm saying. So take those moments where you're feeling good and mold it and grow it and massage it and shine light on it, pour water on it, like feed it, make it bigger and better. And when people start saying dumb shit like, oh, you forgetting, oh, you damn right. What? You see what I've been through? You see what I overcame? Did you see what I grew this? I grew this when I was feeling like that. I grew this when y'all took this away from me. I grew this when that walked away. Excuse me. Beep. But that's all I got to say to that. But yeah, starting over is a good thing, especially when it involves you wanting to go from this level in life to up it some. Starting over is good when you have no choice but to start over, because that's the most exciting thing. It's like, well, dang, now what? I love a good now what moment. I love a good now what moment. Now what? What are we about to do now? What's about to come now? Now what good is about to happen? Now what am I going to create? Because I'm not tied to that. I'm not tied to that job. I'm not tied to that man. I'm not tied to that woman. I'm not tied. Like even when you're not tied to them kids. Like when your kids go out to college and people go through that little empty nest phase, like, yes, what we finna do now? Now what we about to create? Now what we about to do? So yeah, with all that being said, there's a lot of new that just happened in my life. One of the things I'm promising myself, no matter what I'm going through right now, is I'm still going to make sure I get y'all two episodes per month. That's what I can commit to right now. And that's why it really helps that if you are liking what you're seeing, you liking what you're hearing, please just let me know that in the comments. Press the like button, press the share button if you learned something from this and you feel like somebody else can learn something from this, or you heard something that kind of resonated with you, or maybe you thought about somebody while you was listening or watching this episode that you was like, dang, such and such could really use this. please do me a favor and share this with them. You can follow me on all social media platforms at My Voice with Dara and Friends. And I just thank you so much for, if you made it this far and you listened and you feel like you got something from it, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know something that you might have overcame, or a time where you started over, or what was something you actually had to let go of in your life in order for it to start over to actually grow the way you needed it to grow. So thank you all. I'm Dara, and you're listening to My Voice with Dara and Friends.